And you're welcome to the 12 Report. I am Judith Atibi, standing in for Blessings Musugo. The headlines. Trial of Nnamdi Kanu continues a day after the Biafra agitator disengaged his legal team. Nigerian Army arrests terror kingpin and several others that are suspects in major anti-terror operations in Plateau State. And tensions remain high in Cameroon as delay of presidential election results enters day 12. As usual, we have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country and beyond. Joshua Emarayi and Segir Ibrahim joins us from the capital, Abuja. Here in Lagos, we have Israel Oferobo on standby. And from Pretoria, South Africa, Ungani Ziziba joins us. We've got the details. Welcome to the 12 Report. I'll begin the news in Abuja, where trial of the Biafra nation agitator Nnamdi Kanu has resumed at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Kanu is expected to open his defense after disengaging his previous team of senior lawyers led by senior advocate of Nigeria, Kanu Agabi. Justice James Omotosho had on Thursday adjourned the trial to today to enable Kanu prepare for his defense. Joining me now on the 12 Report is our judiciary correspondent, Joshua Emarayi, who is live at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Joshua, it's quite surprising that Nnamdi Kanu has disengaged his lawyers who have been representing him for a while now in the entirety of this case. How are Nigerians and other interested parties reacting to this development?
Good afternoon to you. The Nigerians are reacting with shock over Kanu's refusal to disengage his lawyers. The development has been met with several divergent reactions from several quarters. Some are saying as to what legal knowledge does Nnamdi Kanu possess to take the reins of his case and defend. Some are even saying that Nnamdi Kanu should be subjected to intense medical evaluation and psychiatric evaluation to see if everything is well. The reactions are pouring from every corner, as some people are saying this might just be an attempt to stop the case, while others are saying that Nnamdi Kanu may be disgruntled as to the way the trial might have been conducted in the past, owing to the fact that he, as a person, wants to defend himself. But the question still remains, does Nnamdi possess that legal know-how to take on the reins of his case? We'll be seeing that in the coming days of this trial.
So what's the latest development in court as the hearing resumes today?
Well, this case has suffered another setback again, as Nnamdi Kanu has requested for another adjourned date. Now, upon commencement of proceedings this morning, the prosecuting counsel led by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Abdulkarim announced appearances. Nnamdi Kanu was in court, strolled to the dock with a file clinched to his side, and announced that he was going to be representing himself for the case. And of course, going into the business of the day, Nnamdi Kanu actually sought an adjournment to get the case file from his lawyer, and this was what he said. He said that those who were handling the case previously before disengaging them were yet to hand over the case file to him. So he sought the court adjournment to another day to enable him to get the case file, study the facts of the case, and to see where the processes are taking to have to prepare for the case in proper. And Nnamdi Kanu also sought the permission of the courts to call 23 witnesses, even those from outside Nigeria. He also added that he needed a court order to order the DSS to allow him see his lawyers. I don't know who that lawyer might be, maybe the past lawyers, or perhaps he's contracting the services of another legal expert, and to allow foreign witnesses access the DSS facility to see him even during non-working days. Well, this was met with several objections, vehement objections from the prosecuting counsel, that is Abdulkarim. And Abdulkarim objected, saying this is strange because Nnamdi Kanu had all access to see the so-called lawyers at yesterday's proceedings and today's proceedings. We also told the court, Adegboyega Awolomo also told the court that the court should strictly adhere to the 6 days that Nnamdi Kanu has been given to open and close his defense. Well, the judge, of course, ruled, and this is the ruling of the judge. The judge says that the claim that Kanu is yet to get his case passed from the revered as senior advocate of Nigeria, Kanu Agabi, is strange and unbelievable. But in the interest of fair hearing, he granted Nnamdi Kanu another day to come to court to commence his defense. And he also granted Nnamdi Kanu access to all of his requests. And he also warned that if there is any setback, several punishments will be meted out. The court, however, adjourned to Monday, the 7th of October, to allow Nnamdi Kanu open his defense formally. Judith.
I must say thank you, Joshua, for joining us. Joshua Marayi, there's our judiciary correspondent joining us live from the capital, Abuja. Now, still in Abuja, there was commotion earlier today at the Kuje Magistrate Court in Abuja following the dramatic arrest of human rights activist Omoyele Sowore shortly after his court appearance. Eyewitnesses say police officers forcefully bundled Sowore into a van and whisked him away, claiming they had obtained a remand order, one his lawyer insists was never presented. The situation turned chaotic as officers arrested individuals recording the incident, dispersed petty traders, and even attempted to detain Showore's lawyer within the court premises. Rights activists, including Deji Adeyuju and Counsel Maxwell Opara, have condemned the operation, describing it as a blatant violation of due process and an unwarranted show of force that interrupted the activists' ongoing bail proceedings. Joining us now from the Magistrate Court is our correspondent, Sagir Ibrahim. He joins me live now. Sagir, paint for us a clearer picture of what transpired at the Kuje Magistrate Court today.
As you saw behind me, the judge just walked past. Quite engaged today, I must say. It was a pandemonium, permit me to call it that, as Omoyele Sowore, the Revolution Now convener, was brought to this court, the Kuje Magistrate Court in the Kuje Area Council of Abuja, with the intention of addressing his bail application. But then, when it seemed like, according to eyewitnesses, his bail condition was going to be fulfilled, the police forcefully came, whisked him into the vehicle and then took him out. Of course, I'm here with Barrister Maxwell Opara. He's going to be giving us more details as to what happened. Barrister, if you could quickly walk into the frame. Now, Barrister, you're looking here. Can you talk to us and tell us what you observed and what you classify the actions of the police?
I think you journalists who saw it all. I continue to try for this point, and I continue to say, NBA cannot just keep quiet. And this thing is happening because somebody had respect for the judiciary. Now, you saw what happened yesterday when Sowore went to for his own proceedings and also to the same prison in his friend Martin and upon coming out from the court, the police carefully got him arrested. I'm talking about former presidential candidate in this country. Without any invitation, they took him and they dumped him at the police cell. This morning, without notifying his lawyer, they brought him to the reporting information that together with the other people that was remanded. So we came to the court. Then they were arraigned. He was arraigned to amended charge. They amended the charge. And they were arrested. Apply for their bail. Granted them their bail. So we are now pursuing their bail. So only for them to come without any violence, without anything, dragging Sowore inside their police. For goodness sake, we need to reform Nigerian police. We need to reform them. This is the responsibility of the highest order. Because once you bring the suspect to court, you have subjected yourself to the decision of the court. Now, Nigeria has ordered that they should be granted bail. And when they will be, when they will stop with the bank commission, they should be remanded to the prison custody. They should be remanded at the prison custody. Now they allow the officials to take because they are here. Now, what is the business within the police and the prison? The law has set the position of the police to investigate and prosecute. Then the correctional sector now has the duty to take the hold of the person. Then what is the essence of disrupting the inside the court premises? The woman that is selling, the woman that is selling mineral is destroying her tenant. The people that the court officials, why the court was sitting. What is the problem? So we are calling that, in fact, we are afraid that the judge should be ordered to police. Thank you so much. Well, Judith, there you go. Pandemonium continues right here at the magistrate court. An argument has just ensued right now. But then this is the situation. The police has whisked Shore away. His bail procedure is in the process of being completed. His lawyers have mentioned that upon completion of his bail application, they will then communicate what next steps of actions are going to be with regard securing his release and also finding out his location. Back to you, Judith.
Yeah, and now, so here I'm going to come to you very shortly, but very quickly, I must add here that a lot of people have been reacting to it, and one of them who's been reacting to this operation and arrest, describing it as a blatant violation of due process and unwarranted show of force, is Deji Adeyanju, who's a human rights lawyer. Take a look.
So they even damaged that woman's
table that sells food.
That sells food. You can go and see it.
It's very important. They took a lawyer away whom they claim was filming.
What do you make of the charges being leveled?
Frivolous. There is no basis for any of such charges
at all.
What we are just witnessing is a situation where the Nigerian police force, led by retired a man who has no business being in the police, is insisting on illegality. There is no way that you can criminalize protests. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, what will be the basis, the legal basis, if you say somebody has contravened a valid order of court? What is your business in arresting the person? Why don't you just go and report to that court that he has so that contempt proceedings can be initiated against the person? Why are you? Because what the police is doing is they are resorting to self-help. Because the level of the instruction of police has been breached. Because you know, to very critical thing. The man is not taking part. If you see what happened here, it was personal. What happened here was personal.
Sagir, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us. Sagir Ibrahim is our correspondent live at the Magistrate Court in Abuja following the arrest of Omoyele Sowore, or rather a rearrest of Omoyele Sowore. The switch gets away from Abuja now to Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria, where the state government is set to officially flag off the compensation exercise for residents affected by the Oworoshoki demolition. The event, which holds at the Oloworo Palace on Oworo Road, Kosefe, marks the state's commitment to fairness, transparency, and the welfare of those impacted. Officials say the exercise aims to cushion the effects of the demolition and restore confidence among residents. News Center's correspondent Israel Ifirobo is at the venue and now brings us details. Israel, what new information have you been able to gather so far with this gathering? Unfortunately, we seem to be having technical issues there with that report, but we'll bring you the live update after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Earlier, we told you that residents who have been affected by demolition in Oworoshoki area, the Lagos State government has commenced compensation for affected residents. Joining us now is News Central's correspondent Israel Ifirobo, who is at the venue. Israel, what's the new information you've been able to gather so far?
Well, we've been here since about 10 a.m. We're at the Oloworo Palace here in Oworoshoki, the place where for the past couple of months now, we've had a demolition process that has been happening in this particular area. Today, we've been here since about 10 a.m. What is the issue here today? Well, the government have said that they will flag off the compensation process for the people in this area. But so far, so good. Nothing so far has happened. The people here, as you see, they are gathered. They are waiting for the Oba of Olowoshoki, and as well as the representative from the government they are yet to commence the process. So far, so good. The people are just waiting what the authorities will say today. Judith?
And do you have any information yet on how the state determines the amount of compensation each affected residents will receive?
Well, we're yet to get that information, and as we're speaking right now, some guests are still arriving. Speaking about the amounts for the compensation, we do not have any information right now, and that's what this gathering is actually about. The people will be asking the question to know what's the modality like for those whose houses have been demolished and those houses that have been marked for demolition, 4 or 3-story building, 2-story building. What sort of amount of money will the affected landlords be collecting here today? And that is some of the questions and answers that we hope to be able to gather at the end of today's meeting. Judith?
All right. Israel, many thanks. We'll definitely come back to you for more updates as the event kickstarts fully. Away from that, and now to security, as the Nigerian army has captured a wanted terrorist kingpin, Idris, popularly known as Babawo Bado, in a major operation in Plateau State. Now, according to military sources, the troops of Operation Enduring Peace arrested Bado at Luguri village in Burkin Ladin and recovered weapons, ammunition, and cash from him. 37 other suspects were also arrested, while 15 kidnapped victims were rescued in coordinated raids across multiple locations. The army confirmed the 2 terrorists were killed during the operations, reinforcing its resolve to eliminate criminal networks across the country. In a similar development, 11 suspected terrorists, including senior members of various extremist groups, have been arrested in Nigeria in an international security operation coordinated by Interpol and the African Union Mechanism for Police Cooperation, codenamed Operation Catalyst. The 2-month exercise was carried out between July and September 2025 across 6 countries, and that's Angola, Cameroon, Kenya, Namibia, Nigeria, and South Sudan. The coordinated effort targeted terrorism, financing networks, and other forms of organized transnational crime. According to a statement released by Interpol on Thursday, the operation led to 83 arrests and the identification of 160 persons of interest connected to terrorism financing, money laundering, cyber-enabled fraud, and the illicit use of virtual assets. In Nigeria, the 11 suspects arrested are believed to be high-level operatives with connections to multiple terrorist groups active within the country and across the wider Sahel region. And now to politics, as the Social Democratic Party, SDP, has suspended its national chairman, Cheo Gambam, alongside the national auditor, Clarkson Nandi, and national youth leader, Chukwuma Uchechukwu, over alleged financial misconduct and misappropriation of party funds. According to the National Publicity Secretary, Araba Eyinagbe, the decision followed a solution by the party's National Working Committee after reviewing the disciplinary committee's report. The committee cited gross abuse of office, fraudulent activities, and other violations of the party's constitution. The SDP also disclosed that several members were arrested for allegedly breaking into the party secretariat and stealing sensitive documents. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Larry Issa Onilu, has urged Nigerians to renew their commitment to the National Value Charter, a key framework designed to promote good citizenship and national values. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja on his 2 years of stewardship, the Director General said that there is need to increase public awareness and ensure uniform use of national symbols. He also highlighted 7 key institutions of values approved by the Federal Executive Council to promote a culture of discipline, patriotism, and dignity of labor. Now, he says that although the concept of freedom and justice may vary across regions, Nigeria's core values must remain shared and consistent.
Whatever you find in our youth today is a product of lack of value orientation. They have their own value orientation, but it may not be the one that the country, we had put in place. So, because of that, we recommended 7 institutions of nurturing, which we took to FEC and was approved in September last year. The National Value Charter, which is our answer unapologetically, to the decadence we have seen in the society. So we also have what we call the Global Reputation Management, where we are going to mount campaign across the world to say these are what you should expect from a Nigerian. When you see something to the contrary, please, that person does not represent us. As of today, they are the one that define the perception that the rest of the world has of us.
After years of violence in areas such as Irwata and Daudu, and as well as Lugo in Benue State, many women survivors are now championing community peace and recovery efforts. With support from civil society groups, they are turning past pain into purpose. News Center's Leah Anyu reports.
Many women across conflict-hit communities in Benue State have carried the weight of loss, displacement, and now left to rebuild their lives from the scratch.
As we come dey Daudu now with the IDP camp, they suffer like this. And me, waiting at the past run, waiting they ring inside my head right now. Up till now, if I just hear anything, gunshot, my mind they beat. I'm looking forward that since the crisis has done, we have displaced so many people and we have lost so many lives and properties. But in one way or the other, we think that the government will help us return to our various homes.
With guidance from local civil society organizations, a number of these women are being equipped with mediation, reconciliation, and advocacy skills to help foster peaceful coexistence in their communities.
Trauma is heavy. Trauma destroys. But if you are able to help a traumatized person overcome their trauma, they easily become great leaders. And that is why we are hopeful that these women who have been traumatized by their losses, some of them have become widows, some of them have lost husbands and children, but coming through this program, experiencing some bit of trauma healing and learning skills to engage other equally traumatized women and girls and other young people, that hopefully within their homes, in their communities, they will begin to engage others.
And if we don't begin to conscientize women, if we don't begin to raise awareness as to the need for women to amplify their voices on issues relating to peace building, politics, participation, and prevention of conflict generally, we may not be out of the situation we are in.
I think this whole idea of women as just victims has to change. Not to see themselves as just victims, not also to see themselves as just waiting for help. Because I think that's all the perception, not all, that is the major perception that is being held.
These women will lead grassroots dialogues, support community rebuilding, and help drive more inclusive peace efforts. In Benue, for News Central, Sewesi Anya.
Away from that, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says that it has traced millions of dollars linked to the popular cryptocurrency scam CBEX to offshore accounts. Excuse me. Now, the Director of Investigations, and that's Abdulkarim Chukkol, disclosed this while briefing journalists during a media parley to mark the second year in office of the EFCC Chairman, and that's Ola Olukoyede. Chukkol says that the Commission is aware of the public's demand for updates on the case and assured that investigations have reached on advanced stage, uncovering an international web of financial crimes. He added that EFCC is working closely with Foreign Law Enforcement Agency to recover stolen funds and bring all culprits to justice.
So the investigation is not only done by the EFCC, but also done by other agencies across the world. Our partners are also assisting us to do that. But in Nigeria, the major players in Nigeria were arrested prosecuted. Some of them are under prosecution. I think we charged 3 to court, 1 charged separately, 2 were charged together. So that is ongoing. And it is also a step that we need to take before we can make any claim from the monies that were frozen. We have to demonstrate that, look, a crime has been committed here, monies have moved from this country to another country, and by so doing, this is one of the steps that we need to take before monies come to us.
You're watching the 12 Report. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we've got business and news from out of Nigeria. Stay with us. And welcome back. The Coalition for Economic Fairness, CEF, has urged telecom companies and their foreign partners to fully comply with the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission's FCCPC 2025 digital lending regulations to safeguard Nigerian consumers and entrepreneurs. CEF spokesperson, and that's Nkechi Eze, described the FCCPC framework as a vital step toward fair and transparent lending. Nigeria's equities market gained 479 billion naira on Thursday, driven by investor confidence in economic reforms and improving macroeconomic indicators. The Nigerian Exchange Index rose 753.65 points to 154,489.90, lifting market capitalization to about 98.1 trillion naira. Trading saw 926.91 million shares worth 26.94 billion naira exchanged across 30,685 deals, with PZ Cousins and the initiates as well as with PZ Cousins, I beg your pardon. Now the initiates PLC as well as Lafarge WAPCO leading gains, while John Holt PLC and Multiverse Mining posted losses. And off to Cameroon, as the country's internet access across the country has been severely disrupted as tensions escalate over the disputed presidential election. Internet monitor NetBlocks confirms a major ongoing outage likely to limit coverage of events on the ground. The blackout follows the Constitutional Council's dismissal of all petitions contesting the October 12th vote, paving the way for final results now expected Monday, October 27th. Opposition supporters have poured into the streets, alleging widespread fraud and result manipulation. In the north, protests turned violent, leaving the list at least 2 people dead. Now, opposition candidate Issa Chiroma Bakari has claimed victory with about 55% of the vote, but allies of longtime President Paul Biya insist only the Constitutional Council can declare the official winner. Now, joining us to discuss this further is Levi Mbushu. He is a political analyst and he joins us live now. Levi, thanks for joining us. We are seeing this major internet shutdown right in the middle of a very tense post-election period. What do you think the government is trying to achieve with this move?
Thank you, Ugo. I would say that this is not the first time this has happened. Back in 2017, when the Anglophone crisis erupted, we had seen similar gimmicks played by the government. So they have, I would say it's not lost on them the power or the great influence that social media has. People are resorting to using social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, and other outlets to vent their pent-up frustrations. And I bet you, because they don't want to see this happening, they're trying to stall it, albeit in a very cunning manner. They're trying to let people not express their views because they know that the majority of the people have their hands on the truth they are trying to hide. So it's a way of manipulating and twisting the truth. But you do know that this cannot last for long. It was disrupted for the past 48 hours, but as at this morning, it's beginning to come back. So what they want to do is some political machination which the people, the majority of the people believe will not succeed.
Now, the candidate, the opposition candidate, Issa Chiroma Bakare, has already come out declaring himself the winner. How does this kind of move shape public perception before the official results even drop? Because we're seeing now his supporters on ground, and 2 persons have also died from protests.
Yes, I'd say that back in 1992, it happened when John Fundi declared himself winner. At the time, he was immediately placed under house arrest. There was some siege. The whole country, that part of the country was put on hold, if I may, some kind of ghost town. In 2018, we saw the same happening with Maurice Kamto saying that he had won. Now, in 2025, it's a different kind of ball game because the Constitutional Council and some people close to power had barred Maurice Kamto from running. Unknown to them, Issa Chiroma would begin to gain popular acclaim. It happened, I would say, on the eve of the elections, and then he was liked by many. The people seemed to have formed a coalition around him. So when on voting day, everyone saw that the masses were around him. People voted massively for him. There were allegations of fraud, which fraud was masterminded by top government administrative officials, so they say. And then Issa Chiroma coming on the dawn of the elections and proclaiming victory. I must tell you that the geopolitical landscape is a little different from the way it was back in 2018. The Northerners believe that they had handed power to the Southerners when Ahmadu Ahidjo handed over to DR. And now everybody is clamoring for change. They want to see a regime that has been there for 43 years go away and give rise to some change. Issa Chiroma's program, political manifesto, is appealing to the people. He tells them he's been in government, he knows, he's seen things from within, he wants to come in with change. So when he declared this, I bet you that the Northerners are a people that are more radical than the Southerners who had rallied behind Maurice Kamto. So he's been gaining this kind of acclaim, not only in the North, but across the board, across the country, even in places where we thought were previous political CBDM, the ruling party bastions, he gained acclaim and he won massively. So there is a different political ball game, and I guess the ruling party, or the majority of people, sorry about that, they are aware that Issa Chiroma is a force to reckon with. And that's why you see they are becoming restive. They are carrying out campaigns after the elections to call on people not to go down to the streets. And the people are responding, you don't want us to go down to the streets. Why do you still have votes? So Issa Chiroma's claiming victory and not ending there, but day after day calling people to watch their votes. Just recently, he asked the people to watch and ensure that their votes not be stolen, because if that were to happen, then we fear that all hell might break loose. So Chiroma's proclamation of victory is something to be taken very, very carefully.
All right. I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us. Levi Mbushu there. He is joining us, giving us a bit of insight with Cameroon's elections, joining us live from Kinshasa, DR Congo. A switch gears from Cameroon to Botswana as the cost of living is on the rise again as inflation jumps to 3.7% in September, the highest in over a year. According to statistics, Botswana inflation surged from 1.4% in August, driven mainly by fuel and food price increases. Now, the rise follows a weakening of the pula after July's exchange rate adjustment, which triggered a nationwide fuel price hike. The latest data has raised concerns over household spending, power, and broader economic stability. Joining us now is economist and analyst Keith Jeffries to give us insight on the situation in Botswana. Mr. Jeffries, thanks so much for joining us. What are the main factors driving Botswana's inflation spike beyond just fuel and food prices?
You know, as you mentioned, there has been the changes in the exchange rate arrangements, and that obviously pushes up the prices of imports, and fuel and foods are largely imported. Fuel is entirely imported. Food, to a large extent, is imported. So it's not about those commodities in particular. It's about imports in general, where the changes in the exchange rate arrangements had a significant impact on import prices. So effectively, although the pula, it wasn't an official devaluation. What happened was that the Bank of Botswana changed the way it manages the exchange rate. We have a largely pegged exchange rate, and the Bank of Botswana widened the trading band within which trade can take place. And with the widening of the trading band, and we have quite a large balance of payments deficit, the effect of the widening of the trading band was actually that the exchange rate dropped towards the bottom of the band quite quickly once the changes were made. So effectively, there was a devaluation of about 7%.
Right.
And that had a direct impact on import prices.
Right. And how is this inflation likely to affect consumer spending and business confidence in the coming months, especially when it comes to foreign investments?
Well, I think, on the business side, this has largely been accommodated. Businesses, that's why prices have gone up, because, businesses pass this on to consumers. I think in terms of household spending, it's more challenging because obviously this effectively results in a reduction in spending power. And we've seen households spending and real incomes under pressure for various reasons over the past year or so. And I think this is just going to add to that pressure. So certainly it's going to be a squeeze on households. In terms of foreign direct investment, look, I think there's a belief, which I think is correct, that the pula is probably somewhat overvalued. We're very dependent on diamond exports, and the diamond market's been very weak. So I think there's an expectation that the pula is going to weaken, and businesses prefer that this would happen in an orderly manner rather than a disorderly manner. So I think this change is seen as part of an orderly adjustment of the exchange rate.
Right. Let's prefer solutions, shall we? If you were, to prefer solutions to the Botswana government, just regarding in ways to sort of bring down inflation, what would those solutions be?
Well, I think, the driver of the macroeconomic instability that we're seeing is actually government itself. Government's budget is running a very large deficit, and that's having all sorts of knock-on effects on the financial sector, in foreign exchange reserves, and indeed on the exchange rate. So I think, what's needed is a combination of measures to stabilize the budget and reduce the budget deficit, and at the same time to implement macroeconomic but particularly microeconomic and regulatory reforms, which will help to boost economic growth and therefore provide some support for households through improved job creation. So I think, a combination of fiscal stability and macroeconomic and microeconomic reforms to help underpin a higher growth rate.
All right. Well, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us, Jeffries. We appreciate you for coming on. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, there's more. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back. Civil society groups, child protection advocates, and concerned citizens are gathered at the Union buildings in Pretoria to protest against the proposed legislative amendments that could jeopardize the vital services of baby savers across South Africa. Since 1999, baby savers have provided a safe, anonymous, and life-saving option for desperate mothers to relinquish their infants without fear of persecution or harm. Each year, these monitored boxes save hundreds of lives, offering a crucial alternative to unsafe abandonment in fields, toilets, or rubbish bins. Bongani Ziziba is live at the protest and joins us now. Bongani, Tell us, what's the update?
Yes, a very good afternoon, reporting live from Pretoria, where a coalition of concerned citizens and a civil organization that protects children organizations have come together in front of the Union building to protest the proposed amendments by the Department of Social Development. These amendments threaten to criminalize baby savers' life-saving devices that have been instrumental in saving hundreds of vulnerable infants since 1990. So the protest here is to demand that the government protect these facilities and uphold the rights of desperate mothers seeking safe options for their babies. So with me is Whitney from the Baby Saver South Africa. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us here. What is this protest about?
Thank you so much. The protest today is about the proposed amendment in the Children's Amendment Bill, which will criminalize safe relinquishment. And what we are saying today is that government or the president needs to intervene to stop this proposed criminalization of safe relinquishment, because it will result in more infants being dumped in dumping sites and rubbish dumps.
How bad is the situation in South Africa of children being abandoned? Some we find them in dustbins, in toilets.
So the statistic that we have is that 3,500 babies are abandoned unsafely annually. And for every 3 babies that are abandoned, 2 are found dead. So we are in a dire need, a dire situation where we need safe relinquishment laws. We know that our neighbors Namibia, only after finding 13 fetuses abandoned monthly, they implemented safe haven laws in their Child Care and Protection Act.
Let's also hear the views of men about how important these baby saving boxes and also saving babies, especially from the mothers that would not want to keep their babies.
In what world does that make sense, where our government is preventing some South Africans from living their lives? So it's insane, and I'm here today supporting that cause to give mothers their option back. The choice is theirs for their baby, for their life.
So they can't support their kids. That's why they take a decision at the end of the day of throwing away the babies. So the baby savers are so important to save their lives, and that actually we're gonna help to save lives going further, because the lives matter.
So if I might put the context here, like she said, the statistics reveal a reality of baby abandonment in South Africa. 2 babies are found dead every day. So these baby savers are very crucial in life for the mothers who would want to relinquish their infant without fear of prosecution or harm. So they say that criminalizing baby savers would push vulnerable mothers to unsafe options and also undoing the years of progress in child protection. So this proposed amendments also aims to criminalize the use of these devices, effectively shutting down life-saving options for mothers in desperate situations. So protesters here today are calling on the government to reconsider these changes and prioritize child safety and maternal rights. We'll continue keeping a tab on this story and update our viewers if any developments are there. It's back to you in the studio now.
Now, as we wrap up the week, 2 very different headlines tell the same story, a story of promise that risks falling through the cracks. In Niger State, a fuel tanker overturned and exploded as locals rushed to scoop spilled fuel. At least 31, and now the count is at 42 people, have died, while about 17 have been injured. Another painful reminder of what happens when infrastructure fails and desperation rises. Meanwhile, Nigeria's reform drive is drawing global attention. Reports suggest the country is now seen not just as a frontier of hope, but as a rising hub for investment, propelled by sweeping policy changes and deep market fundamentals. These stories may seem unrelated to the untrained eye, but they share a powerful thread: access to affordable fuel and safe roads matters just as much as macroeconomic reforms. One headline tells of lives lost and the dust of neglect, and the other of opportunities waiting to be realized. One reflects delay and despair, and the other shows readiness and reforms. So what should we carry into next week? Well, it's infrastructure. Even in its most basic form, it cannot lag, because if reform does, it means there's no meaning. When road kill as much as prices pinch, the narrative of recovery rings hollow. Reforms are only as real as the systems that deliver for the poorest. Because when infrastructure fails, every promise of progress feels distant. And that's your postscript to round up the week. That said, the Super Falcons of Nigeria are set to kick off their quest for a place at the 2025 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. They take on Benin Republic this afternoon in Lomé, with kickoff scheduled for 4 p.m. And honestly, we are going to bring it home. I know. Okpe, are you sure? Are you with me on this one that the Super Falcons will bring it home? All the Flamingos.
Yeah, definitely, Judith. Good afternoon. You're looking ravishing as always. Just a couple of months ago, the Super Falcons completed Mission X. Now they're about to begin another campaign to qualify for the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations and then possibly get Mission XI. Hopefully, it does happen. We will also be taking a look at the review of the NBA with the Sacramento Kings losing yesterday and Steph Curry doing well for the Golden State Warriors. All that and more in the game.
All right, it's going to be a packed lineup for you, so make sure to join Okwe Adebari for sports. Comes up at 1 p.m., just about 6 minutes to go, so make sure to join him then. And that's pretty much all we can take on the 12 report for today. Now, do remember, if you see anything out there on the roads, make sure to send us an eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing up on your screen. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV on every social media platform. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, on GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, or also on Avo TV, and you can stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV.